Hey, how am I supposed to concentrate with you standing there naked? Go get some clothes on. My- it's a good thing I try to be funny before we start these. I seen my mute button was on again. I caught it though. Welcome, everybody. I'm the Wizzy, John Zidar. This is our live streaming event. We do this every week on Thursday, 4 o'clock. We look at hot penny stocks that you bring me. And I've got your stocks all lined up. Thank you very much. And of course, I got them from my crew, the underdog, Mark Ryan, Valmore. Thank you. Dino Trades, Jamie Mendez. God, without you, what would I do? I'd be sitting here waiting for people to come. You guys make my show. I appreciate you. All right, so I am actually shaking off the day. It was a hard day for me, folks. I played the Q and options, started off with 1. It went the wrong direction, so I averaged down, went the wrong direction, and I ended up with 22 puts on the Q. And it wasn't going right. So what I ended up doing was getting into the money and buying more expensive. And I actually sold 4 or 5 of them at gains, but still ended up losing $600 at the end of the day. And I have not had time to add up my wins compared to my losses. So I don't know how I stand right now. I'm thinking I'm a couple $100 down today. Whew, could have been a lot worse. Okay, let's dive on in. Let's see if anybody says anything down here. Everybody can hear me. Everybody can see me. Hello, Kevin. Good to see you, buddy. All right, we are all set. So let us dive into this. First thing I got to do is hit the button. So much to do. This is why God invented women, to keep men in line. All right, so let's jump on over to my pages. First ticker we are going to take a look at. Yes, you can see me. Grand. I've got notes here. These notes are both from me and you. I do so much due diligence that the information does kind of get blurred in my mind. And I do try to highlight all of the information, but sometimes it doesn't stay highlighted. So we're going to take a look at BNZI first. I own BNZI's warrants. I'm expecting that when she gets over $2 and starts to run, the warrants are going to run. I bought them at 2 cents. So I can buy 1,000 for $20. These things, when stocks go to $4, $5, $6, will go to 30 cents, 80 cents, $1. Imagine those gains. So I'm being very patient here. Bonsai is a marketing AI technology company helping corporations. They have a very low float and they just completed an acquisition. So Bonsai, she is out of Washington here in the U.S. Finished the day at $1.21. She's down right now, about 6.5%. She's fallen just about 8 cents. This is a penny stock on the major exchange, so you're going to get benefits with that, like free transactions. You don't have to pay to buy your shares. You don't have to pay to sell them like you do on the OTC. You get to trade pre-market, aftermarket, which you never get to do OTC. And let me tell you what, folks, you are going to see some of the biggest nonstop runs pre-market and aftermarket because there are no halts for volatility. There's no one there to stop that bloody thing when it starts to run. But I'm going to tell you this. If you get into a stock pre-market or aftermarket, get out pre-market or aftermarket. Don't carry it over to the bell. Don't carry it over to the next day. Take your gains. Okay, what do we got here? Bonsai, a marketing technology company, provides data-driven marketing and sales solutions for various businesses in the Americas, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. So what information have I found here? Well, first, let's take a look at their website. They are primarily working with turning cold leads into hot leads, helping companies make money. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this, but I'm going to put this on slowly. The company does everything. They have got, think of them as Zoom. They've got that web media so that you can talk face-to-face with people. They have AI incorporated. They create platforms. They monitor data. They do all sorts of things. If you really want to know what's going on with the company, you're going to have to come over here and do your own due diligence. And taking a look at the news, yeah, we had one piece of news, lights, bloody hell. The company, a leading global M&A advisory for the technology business, is pleased to announce the acquisition of Vidello, a video hosting and marketing technology company. This acquisition strengthens Bonsai's suite of AI-driven marketing tools, expanding its ability to provide businesses with innovative video solutions. Vidello is headquartered in London. They offer a robust set of video marketing tools designed for entrepreneurs, startups, and agencies looking to enhance engagement through high-quality video content. The company says that they believe that Vidello has created the best product in the world for making amazing 3D videos. 3D videos, I'd like to see that. The acquisition is expected to contribute approximately $6.5 million in revenue and $2 million in EBITDA. EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. I hate that word. So that's what's going on with the company right now. Looking at the news just to see what's happening over here because I can't remember. I picked out the piece of news that we needed to read. It may have been the only piece of news. Well, bloody hell, if you're not going to cooperate, all right. What we've got here is them doing a lot of talking about themselves. They're going to a lot of shows, getting information out there about themselves. Bonsai provides preliminary 2024 financial results of $22.3 million. That was on the 12th. Preliminary. That's a peekaboo before the financials come out. 22.3. So what was the relative volume around this company today? We got a nice jump. It's over 100%. She was just under 1 million shares a day over the last 30 days on the major exchange, which is really under the radar. Today, she hit 2.2 million. Share structure for Bonsai. We got ourselves a low float. Now, I don't know what the insiders own. You subtract that from the outstanding share count of 3.5. That's our float. I'm sure they own something. So we've got ourselves a super low float. It's going to be below 3.5 million. And what was the relative volume today? 2.2 million. All right. So we're just about selling every share in a day. When we start doing 10, 20 million shares, think of it, folks. You got to sell every share 10 times over in a day. That'll create supply and demand issues. That'll get the price running like it was a short squeeze or something. Market cap, we're at about 4.5 million right now. Is this company making money? That's the bottom line with any of these companies. Over the last 2 years, they have been bringing in revenues. 2022, we were at 5.5 million. 2023, 4.5. And they said what was it? 22? Is that what they said in the news? 22 million? Yes, look at that. 2024 annual is 22 million, folks. And we're looking at a mere 4.5 million in 2023. That is a huge jump. 400, 500% gains on their revenues. Quarterlies, I don't think we're going to get anything more recent than that. No, they've been churning and burning pretty steady every quarter, doing about $1 million, bringing in about $750,000 million as profit. That's a good profit margin, about 75%. Balance sheet, we got 4.2 million in the bank. That's your cash and cash equivalents. Total assets for the company is 7.3 million. Total liabilities is huge, 30 million egads. So we're holding a lot of deficit for this company. We, the investors, are holding almost $23 million in deficit while they're making revenues and making profit. Darn it. Disclosures, I didn't make notes about this. Form 5, 8, that was, I did look at this. The Form 5s are something I don't recognize, so I really can't explain them to you. Oh, yeah, we had a shareholders meeting here. They've got a merger. They are talking about a merger here in compliance with NASDAQ listing rule. None of the open real stockholders are allowed to cast a vote on the merger issuance proposal. See, I know nothing about this. Open real, there's some merger. You may want to do some due diligence there. We don't have time to dive into this. I jumped into this particularly, and I did look, but I didn't see that. I was looking to see if they were going to vote on a reverse stock split. That's what I jump into these for. I do not see a reverse stock split mentioned here. So what I do see is we've got a merger we may want to consider with Open Real. I guess that is it. I don't know if they have a ticker. I don't know if that's a public company. I'm going to presume it is. All right, then. That seems to be all the information for Bonsai. We've got a potential merger here with Open Reel. They've got an acquisition that they just closed, and they've got a low float. It's looking pretty decent, except we're holding a lot of deficit. All right, let's go take a look at Bonsai. Oh, I have nothing set up over here. All right, get out of my face, Q. Bloody hell, this was a bad, bad day for me. All right, we are looking at Bonsai, ticker BNZI. Is it getting warm in here, or is it just me? All this hair, is it any wonder? Let's kick this back to a year. Let's get our 52-week highs and lows. Also get a general idea of what the stock's been doing. It's pretty much been falling and flat for a whole year. I don't see any reverse stock splits here. That doesn't mean they haven't had one. The high bubble here a year ago is at $32. I hope that's legitimate. That's a nice high, for God's sake. And right now we're at roughly $1.21. Our 52-week low is 73 cents. We hit that just at the beginning of the month. As you can see, our 200 is very close right now, but I don't see any jumps happening. You know what? I'm going to get rid of all these lines because every day I got to put new ones up anyways. All right. Hopefully I'll remember to bring them back. So what do we got going here? Well, we've got a 200 squeeze setting up. You've got your 200 haul on the bottom, which is already climbing. You've got your 200 MA on the top already falling. So they're doing that, coming together. Price is in the middle underneath the 50. Now, if we can get this price up on top of that 50, that is the launch pad. Think of Houston rolling the rocket down the road and getting it on the launch pad. Right now, we're rolling. On top of that, 50 will be on the launch pad. You will start seeing smoke come out of it. This thing is set up for a breakout on the yearly chart. Take a look at our 6-month, 4-hour view. Wow. So we got a high of $11.20 back in September. Big fall. Came down real hard from that $11 down to $2. Boom. It didn't do it instantly, but it did it pretty methodically. It didn't stop falling at all. Another big bounce, big fall, big bounce. You can see what a low float does. When she wants to move, she moves. So she went back into a tailspin with some big jumps going towards the 200, which is always a good sign. Once we got to the 200, she did not try to break out, though. She still kept rolling up underneath it. Now, right here, it's flat. That's when we expect a breakout. We got one. When it went totally flat, she jumped from $1.30 up to $2.80. So you're looking at like $1.20. What is that? Shoot, that's like 80% run right there. Came back down, went under the 200 to that low, bounced off of that a couple days later. She has been just going sideways here with some activity, trapped like a pinball between the two 200s, hitting the top, hitting the bottom, hitting the top, and right now it looks like she's getting ready to break out. It's another 200 squeeze. You get these every time you have a stock fall. As soon as it starts to curve up, you get a 200 squeeze and you get that breakout setup. And we've got it right there. 200 is climbing. 200 MA is falling. Our price was on the 50 right there. And look, as soon as it turned blue, when did we get our big bar? To and through the 200. You hear me say that all the time. She came back down to the 9, which is safe. We expect that. She's continued to run. She's pulled back right now. She's bouncing. I can't tell. Looks like she is right on the 9. At $1.21, she is right on the 9. Volume was not all that impressive today. I mean, it was stronger than most days, but not real impressive. Oscillators are looking pretty decent. They are all pushing up except for our RSI. That is coming down. Taking a look at our 20-day, 1-hour view. We got a trend change happening right now. The 200 falling, went flat right there almost. Breakout attempt, not exactly flat, so she came back under it. Right here, she goes flat again. Breakout time again, jumping from $1 to $1.50. Come down past 20. When you see a stock that's had a big run come down to the 20, just expect it to break the 20. You may get lucky. It may bounce off the 20, but it's only twice as thick as the 9. And if the 9 isn't strong enough, the 20 probably isn't either. So expect it to come down to the dynamic duo. If you don't have the 200 haul on your charts, you really should, folks, because the price pays heed to it. It lays on it. When it turns up, it moves abruptly. And when there is an uptrend, you will see the 50 and the 200 laying together. Man, that is a wall. Try to break through that. That is a tough thing to break through. Normally, you get your bounces off of that when it comes through the 20. We had a hit, a bounce up. She's coming back down. She may hit it again and bounce. We're going to watch this. 5-day, 15-minute. Well, again, we got a trend change, right? She was falling. Now she is climbing. She broke out when it was flat. How many times I got to say that? She ripped, came down to the dynamic duo, rode that sideways, and then here she's broken away with all of our MAs starting to fall. Our 200 is purple. That means it's coming down. Our 20 is coming down. That's the steering wheel on a stock. The price normally follows the 20. The rest of them are just backing the 20 up. So the 20 is starting to fall right now. I see a bounce. We're going to watch this, but it's going to need some bloody volume to get up over all of this. If it doesn't get volume, it's going to fall to the 200. Because it's climbing, we're going to have some hope there. But watch it. It could continue to fall through, coming back down to a low. It's possible. Even though we've got all these things going on, that's why the volume is most important. I personally do not follow the news. The news is just a heads up, but it's not always the right heads up. I get bad news and, I'm going to avoid that stock. Bloody hell, it's a dark catalyst. They just announced bankruptcy and the thing's running. Or they just made some huge deal and the stock is falling. So I honestly don't look at the news until I look at the chart first. If it's a hot chart, then I'll go look at the news. Sometimes I shake my head and sometimes I say, oh, that makes sense. Okay, let me come back and visit with you folks. See who's joined us here. Oh, I see some conversation going on. I'm glad you're here too, Kevin. No conversation. Fine. Go ahead, folks. I want you to share some tickers with each other. We may have time to look at some that you throw in here. If I get through this quick enough, that was 17 minutes for the first one. But if I don't, at least you're sharing them with each other. At least you're sharing them with others because everybody can see your comments on YouTube. All right. Oh, bloody hell. Sorry about that, folks. I didn't mean to. I hate that. So let us get rid of Bonsai. We'll close that group of tabs. That gives me a little more power. And we are now going to look at TNON. This was a stock that came onto our radar. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. No, the day before. I think it was after market. They had news come out. I bought into it after market. I have sold, I think, 30% of my shares. I sold 10, 10, 10 at highs. Each time it took a high, I just sold 10. Boom, boom, boom. So I think I'm holding about 70% of them right now. This came from Mark Ryan, who is quite aware of what's going on over there at Penny Boys. He's been trading. This is a medical implant device company. They've got a very low float. They just had a very small public offering for about $2.2 million. It was only 1.2 million shares. I guess they just needed some pocket change. And there's no filings for us to consider, so we can save some time there. So this is a California company, Tenon Medical. Finished today at $2.80. She's up 15.7%. That is a jump of 38 cents. Hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. I was going to say major exchange. On the NASDAQ. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. When you think of medical devices, you don't think of this. This is something that is implanted into the body. It's made with titanium. This goes, it is used on the spinal cord, the vertebrae, but it's used in a lot of areas around the hips and where the legs attach, that big bone area right there. As a matter of fact, when I jumped into their most recent financial, I was just trying to get some information. I discovered they had a ton of information in here about this device. So if you're really interested, what it does is it connects two bones together. It takes two bones, maybe like a lot of older people, especially women, they can't absorb calcium anymore. Once they get past 50, calcium just doesn't come in anymore. So their bones start to become brittle. And when they fall, they can break their hip. And that can actually kill them. Just healing from a broken hip can kill them. So they will use this and bring the two broken pieces together and seam them together. How about that? So there's a lot of information in here. If you know somebody who has bad hips or bad backs, this may be something they're interested in. What else we got over here? News. If it comes up, bloody hell, 2.5 million. There's the big news. I lost all my highlights. Right there. Tenon announces that the FDA's clearance of the catamaran St. Joint fusion system for new indications for augment spinal fusion. The piece I was just showing you. When these things are approved, they're approved for one thing. That's it. You know, cough medicine is for a cough. It might help your sniffles, but if you say it helps coughs and sniffles, it has to be tested for both of those, and that can slow the process down. So everybody goes in with one indicator, that's what they call it, and they get it approved for that. Now, since it's approved, they come back in and say, oh, it's also good for sneezing. It's good for runny nose. It's good for this and that. And all of a sudden, you get it approved a lot quicker, and it's on the shelves for other indicators. Let's see here. Tenon Medical reports fourth quarter, full year 2024 financials. That was on the 20th. I doubt those are going to actually be on the pages that we look at. So let's see if we can get some numbers here. Full year 2024 revenues, 3.3 million, a 12% increase. Let me see. Catamaran St. Joint fusion technology protected with a robust patent portfolio of 12 U.S. and international patents. National commercial launch of the Catamaran SE in mid-2025. So that piece that just got approved, it's going to be launched here coming up soon. So that's what we got going on here. Let's see if we can get some information on the stock itself. Get back to my volume. Ooh, we got a nice jump in volume today. She jumped from roughly 12 million a day over the last 30 days to about 41 million. You got about over 350% increase there. Share structure. We've got a low float. Not that I have any clue what it is. They don't tell us. Outstanding share count is only 3.1 million. Subtract the insiders' holdings. We've got ourselves a super low float. I love low floats, but keep in mind, folks, they do run fast up. They also come down fast. And you know how stocks move. Faster down than up. So if you think it's moving really fast up, wait till you see the thing start to fall. Get out when they're rising, folks. I can't express this more. I know it feels like you're cheating yourself, but you're only cheating yourself when you sell on a red bar because it's falling. By the time you get to the sell, it's still falling. Sell while it's climbing. When you put in your sell, it's still climbing. You're going to get more than you asked for. Even if you go market order, you know, on a climbing stock, you could use a market order instead of a limit and just take everything it's giving at that moment. Market cap for this company, we're at 7.5 million. The question that begs an answer, are we making any money? Yes, it has been growing every year for the last 4 years, starting at $160,000 in 2021 to 3.2 million. And what did they just say? It was 3.2 million. Oh, there it is. That's what it was. So that did get over here. Quarterlies, we don't have anything recent. We should have one coming out. Should be out anytime. They're roughly doing 800,000 every quarter, a little less, a little more, but roughly 800,000. And they're bringing home roughly 450,000 every quarter, a little less, a little more. Balance sheet for the company. We got 6.5 million in the bank, 9.8 million in assets. Yes, 3.8 in liabilities. So we're holding stockholder equity here. We get some of the profits, almost $6 million. I'm liking that. Disclosures. Did we have to look at disclosures? Does anybody remember? 8K, material change. That's what these are. Headline at the top, material definitive agreement. You definitely want to read the very first paragraph. This is the company reselling some shares for an insider. No big deal there. 10K, there's their most recent financial. Like I said, if you want information about that device or about the company, go into the financials. Forget about the news presses. Forget about Google. You're going to get more information on the nose using their financials because they've got to reveal everything in there from the day they were incorporated. So you'll get it all. Okie dokie. That takes care of TNON's information. Let's go take a look at that chart. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Yeah, we were playing this. Of course, we've got lines. Oh, I forgot to put up my bonds. Whatever. All right. So, okay, I'm going to take them down. Nobody's going to remind me. I know. That's okay. Okay. You see my board nice and clear. This is the yearly chart. We've got a 52-week high of $15.79. It was very short-lived. That was a strong pop going from $3 up to $15. A 500% run, folks. Now, it looks like it took 2 days to do that. We got 2 bars, but oh my God, sell while it's rising. And you say, but you told me to sell while it's rising. I lost money. You know, folks, there's nothing that says you can't get back in. I get into options over and over again as it's running. I take $100, get out, take it. It's still going though. Good, I'll grab another one. It goes up $100. Now, I know that's not the best way to play options, but this last week, I did great. I did almost $3,000 because I was doing $300 a day. I would get 3 options done. Just taking $100. Boom, boom, boom. I wasn't being greedy. I was taking the gains as they were given. So get back in. If it's climbing, sell, get back in, but lock in those gains. Or if you have a whole bunch, sell some. Sell 20, 30, 40% and carry the rest, and sell another 20, 30, 40%. Go up some more, but don't carry it all the way up. Folks, do you know how many people lost all their money in game? Hundreds of people were rich. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars rich. College kids, people that worked at gas stations. But you know what they did? Nothing. They bought the stock and they never sold any at any point when it was climbing. And then it came down and they just kept hoping it was going to go back up. And they lost all their money. All of it. Folks, get into the habit of locking in your gains. You will never go broke taking gains. I promise. So we got a nice rip there. She came right back down, though. That's what you get with the falling 200. Continued her downfall and hit a low here of 91 cents. And off of that low, she jumped immediately. Immediately, folks, is a sign of a stock that has value. There are people that shop 52-week low bubbles. Soon as they see one, they'll go look at the financials. And if they see value in a company, they will buy it up because that's a flashing for sale sign. They're getting a bargain. And this one bounced immediately off of this. Now, yes, we've had some news out there, but this point right there cannot be overlooked. And what's happening right now? Look at the chart. It's a 200 squeeze. Now, we had this big bar before, but I mean, it's very close, right? We're on top of the 200 haul. There's our 200 MA. 50's in the middle. It just turned up. We had a big rip, back down way up over the 9, still pushing up. You got to keep your eye on this. All of the oscillators are pushing up and very, very hot right now. Taking a look at our 6-month, 4-hour view. Wow. That looks completely different, don't it? All right, let's see if I can just zoom in on this flat area right here and see what sort of bounces we actually had going on. All right, so we're in a downtrend. We knew that. She is breaking through with that low float. She keeps going through the 200, but of course she's not going to break out. But these are good signs. It means that when she finally goes flat, that 200, she's going to try to break out because she's showing eagerness. She's showing decisiveness. Well, look what happened there, folks. Right there. Oh, you can't see that. Let me back that out the right way. Charts are a pain in the butt sometimes. All right, we're going to take this section right there. God bless. Yeah. All right, so we are on an uptrend. Oh, too many buttons. We are on an uptrend. She is pushing up over top of that 20. The 20 is our steering wheel. It steers the price. Where the 20 goes, the price goes. Everything else supports the 20. That's my opinion. You can think of it any way you want. She is getting back on top of her 9. You can't climb till you're on top of the 9. She's getting in position. Volume was light today. All of our oscillators are very, very cool on the 4-hour chart. Taking a look at our 1 hour. Not doing a whole lot until that low bubble. And that was in the middle of the day 4 days ago. She jumped after the bell. She didn't do squat during the day, not really. After the bell, she took a jump all the way up to $1.66 from 91 cents, went sideways until the next day, and then blasted off pre-market. What did I tell you, folks? Pre-market are some of the biggest jumps you're going to get. This went from $1.45 up to $6. You're looking at 400% run there, folks. Take your gains as she's rising. Once that bell came, she started to fall. I never, ever, ever carry a stock through the bell. If I buy it pre-market, I sell it pre-market. I will not carry a stock through the bell. If it keeps climbing, I'll get back in. I didn't lose anything doing that, folks. I know it doesn't make common sense, but it makes dollar sense. That's what I'm after. So right now, she's come back down, dipped under everything. Was looking pretty spooky here. Came back up. She is now over top of the 20, sitting on top of her 9. We've got a rising 200 and a falling 50. We got some mixed MAs going on here. All of our oscillators are still flat. They're not helping us. They're not giving us a whole lot of indications what's going on. 5-day, 15-minute. This is looking good, right? What have we got there, folks? That is a sweet 200 squeeze. It's sweet because the 200 MA is climbing. It's not even falling. That makes this easier. It wants to go up. So we've got our 200 haul already rising, 200 MA already rising, price already on the 50, sitting right there with the green bar underneath the 9. Once she gets on top of this 9, I'd be looking for a bounce. Now, the 20 is pushing down right now, but a lot can happen between now and the bell tomorrow. Aftermarket, pre-market, this thing has a lot of activity. I'd be watching this, absolutely. Oscillators, still can't read anything. All of them are pretty much flat. There's just no heat to be seen right now, but the chart is set up beautifully. That does it for TNON. Let's just jump on into that next stock. I want to make sure that we get everybody taken care of here and maybe even get some more done. Next stock we're going to take a look at is me. This came from Velmar, who wasn't first in line today. That's okay. You were still here. This is a company that we have looked at before. They've been around a long time. They work with DNA test kits. They had strong daily volume. They are in, that's not how you spell it. They are in bankruptcy proceedings right now. They are selling off all of their assets. As far as I could tell, I was trying to read as much as I could, but there's a lot of information. It looks as though they're going out of business. They're going to be leaving the market. That's the way it looks to me. All they keep saying is, we will be doing business as normal through the proceedings. So, take that with a grain of salt. To me, it looks like they're leaving. Dark Catalyst, is she running right now? I really don't know. I did not look at the me chart yet. So this is 23andMe Holdings out of California. Finished today at 77 cents. Look at that. Running on bankruptcy news. 45% it jumped today, going up 24 cents. Hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. Now, the company has been working in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and internationally. But does any of that matter anymore? They're going out of business. This is what they were selling. Maybe you've seen these around. I know people that have them. They've got them for all sorts of things. You can test yourself. You can find ancestors. They've got a place where you can send in your DNA and they match it up with others so you can find lost relatives. You can get history from relatives in the past, all that sort of good stuff. And the information, can't remember. We've got here. 23andMe initiates voluntary Chapter 11 process to maximize stakeholder value through court-supervised sale process. They say they're trying not to screw over the shareholders. Well, I would just say get out. If you've got any sort of gains on the table, take them. Why stick around for a company that's in bankruptcy proceedings selling their assets? And they have had offers for their assets, and they are asking that everybody comply to their privacy and applicable laws for the bids. And it looks like they're very close to selling their assets to pay off their debts. So they're going to be even by the time they get out. But normally what happens here is that if there's any money left over after they sell their assets and pay off all their debts, it goes to the top holders of stock, preferred stock. Common stock is the last one to get any of the profits. I've never seen profits ever come back to anybody investor-wise after a bankruptcy. So that's a moot point. So what was the relative volume around the company today? God, bankruptcy news. She's up 45%, and she jumped from less than 1 million shares a day to 178 million shares. That's why I call it a dark catalyst. It doesn't make sense. If I was to have read the news, I wouldn't have got close to this stock. I wasn't in it. But I'm just saying, I would not have looked at it looking at that news. But if I was just scanning charts, I would have saw a hot chart, wouldn't have even taken the time to look at the news because I don't care, and I would have gotten into it and made some money. Then I'd have come back and looked at the news and gone, oh my God, that's happened to me a few times. Share structure for me. Right now, we've got about 20 million shares outstanding. Don't know what the float is, but it's not going to be any more than that, right? Market cap, we're at 10.5 million. Financials, have they been making money? Yes. They've been doing pretty good. They've been doing over $250 million as an average. This last year, they fell down to 219 million, and they've been bringing home profits. So you got to wonder why they went into bankruptcy. I mean, really, it does look pretty decent to me, but I haven't dove in to see how much they owe their creditors, how long they've been holding them, when these notes are due. I have no information on that. Looking at their quarterlies, well, they're pretty decent, jumping basically from 40 to 60 million every quarter. It's steady, and yet they're in bankruptcy. Money in the bank, they've got 81 million. Total assets for the company is about $277 million. Total liabilities is less, 214. So investors are actually holding stockholder equity of $62 million in this company. I would definitely have to do some more due diligence to find out why they're in bankruptcy. The other thing we notice is that they are under $1, right? Any stock on a major exchange under $1 is in hot water. You go under $1 for too long, you get a warning. We, the investors, got to get that price up over $1. It has to close over $1 for 10 consecutive days. If we do that, then the company's out of hot water. But if we don't do that, the company has one of two choices: either allow themselves to be thrown down to the OTC or do a reverse stock split. And if they don't have enough shares to do a split, they're going down to the OTC whether they like it or not. Let's see what we've got over here for disclosures. We're really not going to have to dive into these. Just out of curiosity, these are all old. There's a new one, an SC, 13G, and D. 13G and a 13D are filings for big investors who come in and buy so many shares they own a percentage of the company and become an insider. I can't remember which is which, but a 13D and a 13G, one is a silent investor, just take my money and make me rich. The other one wants a say in what goes on. This is Zentree Investments. They just bought themselves 2.6 million shares at 13%. Why would they buy 13% of the company now? A lot of question marks that I'm not understanding. So let's go take a look at this hot chart. A chart I missed today. I don't think I ever saw this chart. Maybe I did. If there's lines on it, I saw it. Guess I didn't see it. Okay, not that I put lines on every single chart. God, that'd just be too many lines, folks. I already line up a lot of charts. Looking at our we did look at it at one time. Looks like it was back here sometime in October, probably. So back in May of last year, we had a high of $12.76 when she was actually looking like she was in a yearly 200 squeeze, right? There's a rising 200 haul and a falling 200, but she didn't take that at all. She had a double top here and fell down to the 200. She was really trying to hang on here, but that 200 MA is coming down fast and furious. pushing this 200, pushing everything down. We've got a 52-week low of 53 cents, and it looks like we might have a bounce off of that. The very next day, she is bouncing. Our oscillators, our PPO is flat. Lots of volume today. Ooh, our ADX is strong, very strong. The green line tells you your uptrend. Your red line tells you downtrend. Whichever one is on top of the other is the dominant trend on the board. Whoever is at the top of the board has all the strength. Whoever at the bottom has all the weakness. And the yellow line, wherever that is telling you the strength of the dominant trend. So our dominant trend is the uptrend. The downtrend is getting weaker and weaker, but we are also getting weak on our uptrend, which tells me everything is more or less going sideways. MACD is falling and our RSI is rising. Look at that. That's interesting. MACD is falling, RSI is rising. But God, she's in the basement. She's under the basement floor of 30. She is right now at 28. Let's take a look at our 6-month 4-hour view. Downtrend, right? $11.40 6 months ago. Still got that same low bubble, of course. And our low hit yesterday after market. Pre-market, she started to bounce, ripped, going through a whole bunch of MAs here, hitting her head on the 50-day MA and falling back on top of the 9. She was under it before the jump, so she's landed on top of it now. Now she's bumping her head on the 20. Volume looks pretty good today compared to all these days before. Our PPO is just now starting to come up. Both our green and yellow line are up at the top. That's strong. Our MACD has a curve up. It's climbing. Green bars are coming into the picture. RSI is actually falling right now after market. 20-day 1-hour view. Well, just want to see what's going on over here. She is setting up for a 200 squeeze, but we've got to get this 200 flat. Everything is in the right position. Volume is falling off right now. We've got to have volume. That is always a ticket. Doesn't matter if you have a perfect setup. If you don't have any volume, you ain't got squat. Oscillators, well, there's a lot of down pressure going on there. I was actually trying to see if we have a divergence. It looks like our MACD is actually climbing slowly, not much, but our price is falling slowly, not much, which means that our MACD is coming up, our price is coming down. They're going in the opposite directions. They should be going in the same direction. When that happens, it has to correct itself. It normally corrects itself to the oscillator. So if the oscillator is pushing up, that means the price has to push up to correct this. If it's going the opposite direction, it means that it's going to correct to this, it's going to fall. So right now, this looks like a correction up on our 200 squeeze right here. But again, without volume, we ain't got nothing happening. Taking a look at our 5-day, 15-minute. Wow, look at that drop. That was a very big drop there from $1.80 initially. That was 50% down to 90 cents roughly, and she just kept falling. Ooh, oh, come on. We missed that one, didn't we? Perfect atypical breakout. You can see it. 200 haul lifted right there. That's when she bounced up onto the 50, got going, took off, hit a high here of $1.37 from 52 cents. You're looking at 150% run right there. Coming back down to the 200, bouncing, all expected. Rolling around, she come down through her 20, breaking it as expected, hitting our dynamic duo, hoping she's going to bounce off of that. If she does, it's all in perspection. But our 20 is falling. Never overlook that 20, folks. Again, it's the steering wheel. Where the 20 goes, the price goes. But we've got a lot of aftermarket still. We've got a lot of pre-market still. Watch that 20, see what goes on with it. That's as much as I want to do for me. I'm feeling lonely out here, folks. Got to come back and see you. Okie dokie. TN is setting up for a 200 squeeze. Yeah, we love our 200 squeezes. You know, it is probably the most common bullish pattern out there because any stock that is falling and goes into recovery is going to set up in a 200 squeeze, and they normally break out. 8 out of 10 of those break out. I know what I'm talking about, folks. These are what I look for when I make videos for you. This is how I look for hot charts, is looking for that setup. And they're there all the time, every day, at least 40, 50 of them. And I got to narrow it down to 1 or 2 to share with you. Mark, you are my buddy. You just bought coffee for me for the next 2 days. I appreciate it. Actually, if I buy a jar, you just bought coffee. You can't buy a jar of coffee for $5, but you've given me a lot. I like you, Mark, and not just because you give me money. You've been a friend to me ever since you started watching my videos, and I appreciate that. Mark watched my videos and says it is because of my videos that he has become a better trader. And he is an impressive trader now. I got to tell you, folks. David. Good to see you here, David. Mark thinks he's meaning cooler. Somebody talking about cooler here? Let me see here. NBS is rival to the IPO CRWV. V? I believe this would be the play for tomorrow to avoid the IPO whiplash. Ooh, something for me to look at. Yes, cooler. Yes, CKULR, right? Cooler. They got earnings coming out? Probably out right now. Okay, what time is it? We still got time. It's 4:46, and I'm making you dizzy. All right, let's get rid of this. The more I get rid of, the more power I got. We are now going to take a look at Vism. I was given a choice. It was RGSL, I think, or RGLS. It was one of those 2 tickers, or Vism. Now, the other ticker has had play. We've been playing it over at Penny Boys. I think it was up 56% today. Why didn't I share it? Well, I was looking at Vism. Vism I have seen through the years, off and on, off and on, off and on. And as I was looking at it, it was just curious to me. So I thought, instead of talking about one a lot of people are talking about, we'll talk about one probably nobody's talking about. So this is Vism. Vism came to me by way of Dino Trades. This is a corporate cyber security company. They have no current news. Their last piece of news came out in June of 2024 when they told us they were expanding into West Africa. That's all I got to share with you right here. So what have I got to share? I don't know. Let's see what comes up on these pages. Well, I wanted to show you, actually show here. I went over to Titan Stocks, my favorite place to do news. Titan Trading. Can't remember the name of it right now. But in either case, that's where I saw the most recent piece of news. And there's nothing else since then. So what have I actually got here for us? Right. And I lost all my bloody highlights. Okay. I jumped into the most recent financial because, as I said, everything that the company has done is in these. So if you really want to do due diligence and you've got no news, where else are you going to go? You got to jump into these. So they tell us that Vism Technologies was incorporated in Nevada as Jaguar Investments. They've gone through a whole bunch of changes. Vism is a provider of comprehensive IT infrastructure, professional services, specializing in delivering innovative, scalable, secure technology solutions. Now, it was in March of 2019, the company got a license with MITRE and SiteGraph for some patented technology for cyber warfare analytics and visualization and knowledge management. Now, I bring that up because this True Context cybersecurity platform, that came out of this deal. That is a collaboration of all 3 companies. They came up with this, and that is their top product that they're selling right now. They tell us that in November of 2023, they entered into a $20 million contract, but it's done. As of December 31st, 2024, it was completed. There have been no more activity involved in that. And then down here, let's see if I can find it. Right there. We work with a number of technology alliance partners to design go-to-market strategies that combine our platforms with products or services provided by our technology alliance partners. I was looking to see who these partners were. I always like a list of names. I couldn't find any. I'm not saying it's not available somewhere. I just didn't find them. But they have got a product. I don't know what contracts they have right now. They say they've got lots of partners who are using their products on their services and products. So what was the relative volume around this company today? Not a lot to talk about, right? Well, we did a 100% increase, jumping from 1 million shares up to 2 million shares. Share structure for Vism, we got split right down the middle virtually. Insiders own 107 million. We own 106 million. It's not the best float in the world. I always say anything under 100 million is a decent float. We're right on the cusp there. The only thing I like is that it's a 50-50 split. Market cap for the company, we're at $1 million. Egads. Financials for Vism. We're not making any money. How about quarterly? There's nothing here. What's this balance sheet look like? Talk about nothing there. No. This is the first time I'm looking at it, actually. Cash and cash equivalents. The bank has $6,000 in it, and that is all the assets they have. They have nothing. Don't have a vehicle. Don't have a building. Don't own a lawnmower. All they got is money in the bank. Total liabilities. Oh, my God. 4 million. No, let's call it 5 million. 6,000 in assets, 5 million in liabilities, and who's holding it? We are. They have no revenues, they have no profits, so where are they getting their paychecks? Where do you think all that money's been going? Year after year after year, quarter after quarter after quarter, into their pockets. There's nothing here, folks. They say they've got a product and they're selling it. Who? To whom? Where's the money? I haven't seen 1 penny in years. So this is one of those pinks that to me is just bull crap. Talk. We don't see any money. We don't see any products. We see a lot of information that isn't accumulating to anything. I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole that was 20 feet long. So we are down from 0035. We are down 0004 today. She dropped 11%. And we are going to go look at this chart. I always wonder why people ask for certain stocks. And I think maybe they're holding this stock and they're looking for light at the end of the tunnel. I would love to give you light at the end of the tunnel, but I don't BS people. I don't hype stocks. I'll tell you if I think it's going up. I'll tell you if I think it's going down. I try to look at stocks that I think are going up. So most of the time I say that. I don't have a whole lot of faith in this one right now, but I haven't seen the chart. So let's take a look at Vism's. I already got it up there. That's cool. Let's take a look at Vism's 1-year chart. Okay. Is that 1 year? It is. So back in June of last year, we were at 007, 007.5. We had a low of 001. It's a huge fall, folks. That's like 700% fall. And then she's been going sideways, pretty much riding on that 200 haul. She took a dip here underneath the 200. She got back up on top of it and just ripped, just took off. Right there's our 200. She got up there, laid on it, just 1 bar, pushed to the 50, and then there it is. Look, as soon as our 200 haul turned blue, it's purple all here. She got up on top of the 200. She got up on top of the 50. The 200 haul turned blue. Boom! To and through the 200. Wow, did that jump? That went from just that 1 bar, went from 0018 up to 0039. Whoa, you're looking at over 100% jump right there. Okay, I'm going to have to correct myself. I would have touched this with a 2-inch pole. With a chart like this, I would definitely have been playing this. This is one of those cheap stocks that you don't have to put a lot of money into, folks. So This is looking good on the yearly chart. She's pulling back right now, but she's sitting on top of her 200. It's looking good. Our oscillators, PPO is climbing. Our ADX has got strength in it. Our MACD is climbing. And for Pete's sake, our RSI is in the overbought. Taking a look at our, let me get rid of that. There. Sorry, folks. Just noticed it. Jump down to our 6-month 4-hour view. We got a high of 0062 and a fast fall to 001 straight over. And we had that atypical breakout. And look, folks, how many times can I show this to you? Once that 200 haul turns blue and the price is over the 50, it doesn't have to be on it, just be over it. Once it happens, it is ignition. Your rocket is launching, taking off. Normally, that very first bar is your biggest bar, right? So this isn't a bad way to take gains. When she comes back down here, normally to the 9, get back in, ride it up a second time, breaking the old high, setting a new high. We've had a big pullback here. She's come right back to the 200. Now, normally this happens when the 20 finally reaches the 200. See how she took off? The 20 is rising. She's rising as long as the 20 is rising. Once the 20 gets close to the 200, expect a pullback. It'll normally come back to the 200, or if the 50 is close enough, it'll come right down to the 50. Tag that bad boy, and boink, it'll be running again. That's the way I see most of them play out. Oscillators, PPO is climbing. Oh, we just had a crossover, but that's expected. We just had a big red bar there. Our downtrend has just crossed our uptrend. So now our downtrend is in authority. It's dominant with a lot of strength up here right now. So we're going to watch this. We see our RSI is falling fast. Everything else has still got a lot of strength, our MACD and our PPO, but they're starting to crest up at the top right now. Take a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. Get a little more meat to this chart. Ugh! This is so frustrating. I do this all day. That's like 10,000 times I have to do this a day. So we've got a run here off of that low bubble, 001, hitting a high of 004. That's 400% run right there, folks. And again, I would have played this. Reading the news, looking at the information, I don't want nothing to do with it. I would have missed out on a hot runner, right? If I'm going through my charts and I'm just looking for setups, who cares about the news? It doesn't matter. Is any of this news affecting these breakouts? No. Good news, bad news, it doesn't matter. They're breaking out over the 200 anyways. So just get used to reading the charts and letting the news be a heads up. Just food for thought, but don't let it be the criteria for why you're trading the stock. We got a nice bounce back off of the 20 right there. She had a nice rip, came down to the 20, did not break it. I didn't say she'll always break the 20, but most of the time she will. As I said, every now and then you get lucky. Boink. We got lucky with this one. She took a nice bounce and she's pushing up. Again, she's now over top of her 9, over top of the 20. 20 is climbing. So where do we expect the price to go? With the 20. Here come all the other MAs to back it up. They're all climbing too. All of our oscillators are getting strong. Everything is starting to turn up right now and getting strength. And we just had a crossover on our ADX. It's stitching right here in the middle. This is where all the decisions are made. You see right here? Ding, 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 ding. Lots of decisions being made, and you get bounces right here in the middle. As they cross over, you get bounces. Well, we got a crossover right now. Hopefully this keeps climbing to the top, the green, and the red goes down to the bottom. Look at our RSI. That's got a nice turnaround. Went flat, and now we're up at 58. This is looking pretty good, folks. I may put this on my watch tomorrow. Just out of curiosity. Let's look at our 5-day, 5-minute. Yeah, she is on an uptrend right now. We haven't got a 200 on this board. Our 50 is strongest, and she's paying heed to it. She came down and bounced off the 50, which is probably why she bounced off of the 20. If you think about it, folks, these things break down on the 4-hour. 4-hour goes down to 1 hour. That's a 4. So your 200 On the 4-hour chart is where your 50 will be on the 1-hour chart because they're 1/4 of each other. I don't want to confuse you. So we got to bounce. I just did. We got to bounce off of the 50. Everything is climbing. Everything is pushing up. Volume is light, very light. It was strong today, but all in the wrong direction. The green volume we can't even see, but we see she's bouncing. Again, we have a change going. Now, I like this. Our red hit the very top. You cannot go any higher. Our green hit the very bottom. You cannot go any lower. So we can anticipate a bounce from both. Both of them hit, boink, boink, and start coming back the other way. And maybe get a crossover right there in the middle and another shoot. Again, take your gains as it's climbing. Don't think it's going to go on forever. Never ask the question, how high do you think this is going to go? That's an amateur's question, folks. That is setting yourself up for a loss. Who cares how high it's going to go? Is it going to go any more? That's all we want to know. We're going to take gains as they're given. And when you see red bars, take your gains. If she turns around and starts to go up, make another purchase and get back in. But don't just count on hope, folks. Hope is too expensive. Those people with Tesla, or not Tesla, Game, they were hoping and they lost hundreds of thousands for hope. I can't afford hope. Okay, I need a breather here. I got a soda. I'm trying to get rid of it for us. Mark Ryan, thanks, David. Hey, you guys aren't doing any talking. Are you really paying attention to me that much? Really? When the Wizzy speaks, everybody listens. All three of them. Wow, it's 5 o'clock. Do you know where your smoke is? Yes, I do. That's what I need. I need some nicotine. Taking you back now. We are going to now take a look at the last stock I am prepared with. This is THTX. Let me show you the one I'm talking about. This is Thera Technologies, Inc. This came to me from Jamie Mendez. This is a biotech. They've got 2 drugs they're working on, both for obesity. They have just received FDA approval to sell one of them, which means they're commercializing. They're getting away from research and development, having to ask us for money to pay all the bills, to pay them. Now they're going to sell a drug, start making money, start giving us stockholder equity. This is a big deal, folks. We got no filings to consider, and the volume was up today, as you would presume. This is a Canadian company based out of Montreal. Thera Technologies, ticker THTX, finished today at $1.67. She fell at the end of the day. She was down 10.2%, dropping almost 20 cents. This is a penny stock on the major exchange. She too is on the NASDAQ. What information have I got here? Bloody heck. I'm using a different browser here, which took all my highlights away. I like using Opera, but when I do, it just crams up too bad. I need a bigger computer just for you guys. All right. Why am I over here? I don't know. Let's take a look at the 6K. 6Ks are a lot like your 8Ks. Oh, right. We didn't have to look at the filing, so I'm not quite sure why that was there. But we do need to take a look at the news. Thera Technology receives FDA approval for Agrifta WR, that is one of their drugs, to treat excess visceral abdominal fat in adults with HIV and lipodystrophy. I think that's how you pronounce it. So they've got 2 drugs, the Agrifta and I can't see the name of the other one unless it's Agrifta WR and Agrifta SV. No, these are 2 different formulations. So one of them has been approved. Now, folks, there are a lot of obese people in America. And to be completely honest, they've been waiting for this. They're already out there. I've seen commercials on them. These are injectable. You inject it, and it's supposed to eat away at certain types of cells that hold body fat so that the body fat can't be held, and you get rid of it. And the truth is, this is what people have been praying for. I can remember 10, 20 years ago, people saying, oh, I wish they had a shot. I'd take it to lose weight because I can't diet. I've tried every diet in the world. I've never had to worry about that. I have a hard time putting on weight. If they would come up with a shot that, oh, they do, it's called steroids. Yeah, I know. So I do think this is going to be a hot ticket item. Now, their competitors, I don't know. That's worthy of some due diligence. As I said, I see TV commercials about this already. So some of them, at least one, is already on the market. I did go through here trying to see if they had any projections on what sort of revenues they were expecting. Nothing. I was looking to see how big the market was. Pardon the pun. They didn't tell us how big the market is. I have no idea what it is. I'm sure it is a very huge market. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm not making fun of big people. I'm not, folks. I've got lots of friends that are, as a matter of fact, my best friend, she is a big girl. She has been a big girl her entire life. And dieting for her just was a waste of time. Her whole family's big. It's in their DNA. There's nothing they can do about it. So, I don't hold it against people. A lot of people, it is a personal problem, but a lot of them, it's just a situation. All right, that's all the information I've got for the company. Let's see what we've got for the stock. That's a nice jump. We went from a measly 127,000 shares a day. Talk about being under the radar, to 1.7 million. Now, that's not a lot of shares, but that's a pretty decent jump. We're looking at, what is that? 14, 15 times, something like that, 12 times your normal volume. Share structure, THTX, THTX. Slow down. All right, outstanding share count, not bad. We're at about 45 million. Don't have a clue at the insider zone, so I don't know what the float is except to say it's not going to be more than 45 million. All right, 46. Market cap for the company, we're at about 85 million. Is this company making any money? What? All right, I'm confused now. I know that they've got two drugs. I read a piece of news that said these are the two drugs we got, and we just got approval for one of them. So where's all the money coming from? Unless one of these drugs has already been approved for Europe or some other country and they've been selling it over there for a while. I honestly don't know, folks, but they did make a point to tell us that one of those drugs was for U.S. sales. Well, when you say that, there has to be a converse. They must be referring to something that's being sold outside of America. That's probably where this money's coming from. They have been roughly doing $80 million for the last 3 years, bringing in roughly $60 million for the last 3 years. That's not bad. Quarterly, we don't get them. I know they've got them. They just don't show up over here. Balance sheet for the company. This only goes up to November of 2024. We've got about 16 million in the bank, about 53 million in assets, 78 million in liabilities. So we are holding stockholder deficit of 25 million in this company. Even though they got lots of money coming in and they got lots of profit, we don't get any of it. Disclosures. Did I say we didn't have to look at the disclosures? No filings to consider. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. So I would be interested to do some more due diligence just to see where that money's coming from, and you know where to go. Just go into their financials, folks. They're going to tell you exactly where that money is coming from and what they're selling. I've got to presume it's the other drug. So one got approved for the U.S. now, and the other one's been approved for somewhere else. That's my presumption at this point. With the time that we have, I'm not going to dive into it. I'm going to let you do that. So I apologize for not having all the research done, but folks, when I'm doing all of this due diligence, I am also trading my stuff. And today was a bad day. I was really focused in on how much money I was losing. And I am trading over there at Penny Boys with other people. And I take their trades very seriously. And I can't be ignoring them either. So it's a difficult thing to do deep dives. So I just glance over these. So obviously we've missed something here. So let's go take a look now at ticker THTX over at my playground. This is Thinkorswim. only available from Schwab. Now, if you want to get this, you don't have to trade with Schwab. Just open up an account. They don't ask for any money or deposit. Just open up an account. They'll give you a link. You can either download it and put it onto your computer, or you can use the web version. I don't like the web version, but then I've been using the downloaded version since I started trading. This is the only chart I've ever seriously traded on. I do use Trading Views every now and then because they've got a few certain tools that this one doesn't have that I really like, but outside of that, this is the only one I'm familiar with. All right, boy, what are we looking at there? Head and Shoulders? Yeah, lopsided one. Head and Shoulders is a bearish pattern. You get shoulders, a shoulders and a head, and then a big fall. But that's the 5 minute. Let's go on back to the yearly chart, get our 52-week highs and lows, and that's not what I was expecting. You know, most of the stocks we look at are coming downhill like a ski slope. So we've got a 52-week low all the way back. This is $1.08 back in May, pretty much going sideways with a lot of bounces and pretty much staying up underneath the 200-day MA. She broke out here. She's not exactly flat. She's still falling, but she's working towards flat. Looks like she was anxious to run. She jumped from $1.18 up to $2.18, doing that over a long period of time. That looks like over a month. Then it took another 30 days to come all the way back down to the 200. Boy, is she a slow mover, huh? Then she took another jump, another bounce down, and now we're ripping. But look at the size of that bar. That's the biggest bar on the entire chart over the year right there, folks. And that was yesterday's bar. She is on an uptrend right now. She's had a serious pullback after that, but we expected that. Looks like she's right up underneath that 200 haul. Lots of volume came in today. Our PPO, she's crossing over right now. We have strength in our ADX. Looks like it's weakening though. Our MACD is crossing over as well. Looks like she's fighting to stay strong, and our RSI is falling. Come on down to our 6-month 4-hour view. Yeah, that was a big drop, wasn't it? So she had a bounce here. She got up on top of that 200 and just wanted to climb. Started bouncing off of the dynamic duo, right? Our 200 haul on 50. You can see that over and over again here. Got up to a high here of $2.18. Broke everything, fell underneath everything, which pulled all of our MAs down. She actually stuck it right here to the 200. Now, she is under the 200, but I like to think of this as the magnetic monkey effect. You're right up underneath, hanging onto the rungs. You haven't actually left the 200. You're still there. She came back up, worked her way up onto the 50. We've actually got a 200 squeeze here, reverse. Our 200 hauls on the top, our 200 MAs on the bottom. And you know what's nice about this? It doesn't matter. The only time a 200 squeeze doesn't work is when both the 200 MA and the 200 haul are falling with the 200 haul on the top, because the price will follow the 200 haul. The 200 haul is the friend. So that's the only 200 squeeze that doesn't work, is when the 200 haul is on the top and the 200 MA on the bottom and both are falling. But any other concoction of the 200s together in any direction, it's all good if your price is getting near the 50. So right now, she's come right back down underneath the 200, on top of our 50, on the dynamic duo. But she is pushing down. All of our oscillators are still pushing down. She could come down even further, but her low seems to be about, ay caramba, don't you love it? Her low seems to be about $1.50 right there. And right now we're at $1.67. So if she comes down, I would expect right there, right where this one bounced. I actually took that from this red bar, but you can see the green bar before she jumped. That's where she took her launch from. So I would expect this to come down no lower than there, $1.50, and take a bounce and a launch off of that if she has any motivation to do it. Take a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. Well, she has settled down onto her 200, but again, she could easily break it. Things are rolling over now. Our 200 haul is pushing down. It's purple. Our 20, it's actually trying to go flat right now. we've got a chance here that she could come back up, but everything is so cool, it's hard to guess. All we're going to do is watch this to see what happens. Taking a look at our 5-day, 15-minute. That's telling us something. That Head and Shoulders, she came down to a 200, which was actually rising here. She started to push up, but everything, all these MAs are pushing down on the 200, forcing it to start to roll. She's broke under the 200 here, and our 200 is flat. It's actually got a little bit of incline right now. I would not be surprised to see a reversal right here. We've got a 200 squeeze, 200 on the top, 200 haul on the bottom. She's way down below. So what I would be thinking is that this could take a crouch and a pounce. She's going to dip underneath that 200 haul. You're going to say, it's not working. I see this a lot too. It'll come down to a strong support, could easily be that low, underneath the 200 haul. And from there, she will push up so hard that she'll turn the 200 up as she's running. By the time she hits the 50, the 200 haul will be turned up, pushing her to and through the 200. So this is a very good setup, even for a dip down to the $1.50 and a bounce back up, making that 200 squeeze active and live. That's the way I see it. I'm looking for hope. Not really. I'm telling you, 8 out of 10 times these squeezes work. That does it for everything I had set up. I think we got time to do one more. My voice is hanging in here, so I'm not going to run away. You remember Hutton, huh? Yeah, when it's EF Hutton, not FE Hutton. I've been getting my letters wrong all day, so I ain't holding anything on anybody. So let's see what we got up here. Can you check AQMS? I've never heard of that stock. I don't know anything about it. We could look at that one. Is there anything else up here? You know what, Kevin, I think you're in luck, buddy. Eric, Cooler, not finding it. Cooler, no, it's K-U-L-R. Cooler, not curl, Cooler. Okay, let us check out AQMS. We'll go look at that one. Let me get rid of that. Here we go. AQMS. All right. Oh, my eye's twitching. That feels weird. AQMS. I've been staring at this computer hard. All right. AQMS. Aqua Metals. Aqua Metals. Let's go to our company profile. This is a company based out of Nevada. She finished today at $2.10. She was up 6%. This is a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. Aqua Metals engages in reinventing metals recycling activities with its patented aqua refining technology. The company's technology produces metals and alloys that can be returned into the battery manufacturing supply chain markets, as well as sells metals for use in various advanced manufacturing industries. It's aqua refining, a low emissions and recycling technology that replaces polluting furnaces and hazardous chemicals with electricity-powered electroplating to recover valuable metals and materials from spent batteries. Well, we know we're going to have batteries forever and ever. All kinds of them. It doesn't matter what they're made of. All batteries use metal. So this company's got a place in the market. Absolutely. So let's start over here with the relative volume, and we'll work over to the news and everything else. Our volume dropped today from about 72,000 shares a day to 50,000 shares a day. Definitely under the radar. Looking at the share structure for Aqua Metals, we've got a decent share count. Outstanding shares, about 7 million. Don't know what the insiders own, don't know what the float is, so we know it's not going to be any more than 7 million, and it could be considerably less if the insiders own a lot. Market cap, we're at about 14 million. Financials, are they making any money? No. God, no. All right, they've had some revenues coming in, but that doesn't matter. Look at this. Cost of revenues, they made $25,000, and somehow they came up with $6.2 million to earn that $25,000. They're in debt every single year by millions. Quarterlies, how are they in business? They're not making any money and they're losing money. Every single quarter, hand over fist, they're losing millions of dollars. Not looking good. Cash, well, they've actually got some money in the bank. How about that? About $3 million. Total assets, we got about 28 million. Ooh, liabilities is less. How about that? 7.5. So we're actually holding stockholder equity. The company's not making any profits. They're losing millions of dollars every quarter, and we have got profit. Almost $21 million worth of stockholder equity. That's surprising. All right, let's take a look at the news. Let's see what we've got going on here for catalysts. So, okay, there it is. Let's see. Going back to February 4th, Aqua Metals aims to more than double battery-grade lithium production at Sierra Arc Phase 1. That is Seeking Alpha. I can't read Seeking Alpha. They've blocked me because I've looked at too many of their pages for free, so I can't ever look at them. Aqua Metals expands vision for commercial gigascale lithium battery recycling, more than doubling the output of battery-grade lithium at Sierra Arc Phase 1. I'm presuming that's one of their facilities, probably in Reno, Nevada. Aqua Metals strengthens their board of directors to advance sustainable battery recycling. The directors are people who bring in information that can help guide the company. It's normally the people they know or affiliations they have that can help the company. So obviously they've just brought in a new director that has some affiliations that can help the company. Aqua Metals achieves major milestone in recycled battery materials. First, U.S. sourced nickel integrated into domestic CAM for testing by Tier 1 battery manufacturing. More due diligence needed to be done, but a first in anything is always good. And the last one, Aqua Metals to announce fourth quarter and full year 2024 financials on March 31st. So we've got a few more days. I'm not having any high hopes here that there's going to be anything good in it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's more going on than I'm aware of. But if things continue, probably made $10,000 and lost $7 million. Yeah, something like that. Take a look at their disclosures. See if we've got anything interesting over here. We've got a bunch of Form 4s. These are filed whenever those insiders acquire or dispose of the company's stock. But they can do it in a lot of different ways. So all I do is jump in the middle here. If that's a P, it's a purchase. If it's a S, it's a sale. That's how many they'll be buying or selling and at what price. That is not a P or an S. It's something else, so I really don't care. But down here, they'll give you an explanation of what it is. And this is RSUs will invest and be settled in 6 months. I have no idea. See, I don't want to know. 24th, 24th, 24th. I'm going to believe all of those are. Then we got 3s. I don't deal with 3s. We got an SC13 here. This will be the last filing we look at. This came back out at the beginning of February. This is a big investor who just got himself 371 million shares, bought himself 5.2% of the company. That was Bard, Robert, and company. So somebody bought some more just a little while ago. I'm sure he looked at the financials. What did he see that intrigued him to buy 5% of the company? Isn't that buying 5% of the debt? Well, not really. If he bought regular shares, there's a lot of stockholder equity there, right? Okay, that is all we've got. I don't see a whole lot going on here except for the fact that they have a first. They're working with nickel now. They've got their facility that is now doubling their capacity for what they've been doing. That's good, which means instead of $25,000, they should make $50,000. Look, it's not about how much money they're making. They got to cut down costs. I don't know if they're paying themselves too much or what it is they're doing. You know, they've got too many trucks going back and forth, but they've got to cut the cost down. This is killing them. So let's go take a look at the chart for AQMS. This should be interesting. Boing! Jumping on back to our 1 day, 1 year. Egads. All right, we got a ski slope going here without a lot of light. We've got a 52-week high a year ago of $14.14, but don't believe it. That is not a real high. No. I see we have a reverse stock split here, a 1 in 20 that happened on November 5th. So that means the entire chart, everything on the chart, I don't care if this chart goes back 100 years, everything on the chart has just been multiplied by 20. Used to be a big bar would show up on the chart that day, and the price would jump from 20 cents to $4. 20 times 20, right? You have a big green bar. They don't do that anymore. They average it out over the whole chart. So we've got to divide $14.14 by 20, which is going to be something like 70 cents, close to that. 70 times 20 is close to 14. So our high this day was actually 70 cents. Our low now reads $1.33. So it just don't make any sense anymore, does it? So we've got to use the numbers we've got here. After that reverse stock split, we've got ourselves a low float. We hit a low of $1.33 and instantly, pop, jumped off of it. Why? Because we got stockholder equity. Any company that has stockholder equity that has value. Obviously, nobody was looking at the profit margin for the company. They were looking at stockholder equity. This thing jumped immediately from $1.33 up to $2.86. Folks, that's over 100% jump in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. 4 days. She came down to the 9, continued her climb, butted through the 50, came down, crouched underneath the 20, and she has been meandering around all of the MAs, the 9, the 20, the 50, all the way to here, and the 200s are getting closer. But I don't think she has it. That is a 200 squeeze set up, folks. That is perfect. She is sitting on the 50. There's our 200 Hall and 200 MA. We have volume, but it's all sell volume right now. All of our oscillators are pretty much pushing down except our RSI. RSI is actually pushing up with a red bar. Look at that. There could be some hope here. The ticket, I've said it over and over again, is volume. That is always the ticket. The more volume you get, the better these 200 squeezes break. Take a look at our 6-month, 4-hour view. All right, where's that reverse stock split? There it is, right there. So she's falling. We had a big drop here. I'll bet you this is when they announced the reverse stock split. She had a big fall, voted on it, maybe something like that. Came down, hit that low. Everything is falling till about right here. Right in this area is when things start going flat. And when do we see our breakout? That's right. When the 200 goes flat, she ran for it. She got up on top of it, took a dip down to our friendly 200 Hall, jumped off of that. Everything pushed hard from $1.96 up to $2.90. Came down, bounced off our 20, and then had a big fall. Now she is going sideways. And again, she is setting up for a climb. It isn't a 200 squeeze, though. She's just got all of her MAs climbing. Our 200, our 20, our 9, our 200 Hall is just turned up. Now, it doesn't have to be a 200 squeeze, folks. When the 200 turns up and the price is over the 200 Hall, expect the price to go up. They are tight. This is a kick in the butt. Bink. Every time that thing turns blue, it's kicking the price in the butt. I love my 200 Hall. I can't imagine trading without it now. Take a look. Oh, let's take a look at our oscillators. Look at there. We got a climb on our PPO. ADX has had a crossover. We have just put the downtrend to the downside. Our MACD is climbing. It's about ready to cross over. And our RSI is just over 55. It's at 56 right now. I don't like to see it any less than 55. 20-day, 1-hour view. We could have a breakout attempt here, folks. The 200 is pretty planted. She's rolling up and rolling down. Right now, she's having a roll up. But we have got all of our MAs in the right place and the price in the right place. getting up there on top of the 9 with everything going up right now on a very sharp incline. I like the way this 200 haul is right there. It's on the top. When this 200, the price gets on top of the 200, if it's turned up, it's going to climb. So this is looking like she is ready to jump right now. Oscillators, our PPOs climb, everything's climbing. It's all looking good. All of our lines on the chart are climbing. Let me see, is that, except our 200, which is perfectly flat right now. Perfectly, which is a good opportunity for a breakout. 5-day, 5-minute. We're on an uptrend. Our 200 is climbing. We did have this break down to the low bubble. Immediately, she has bounced off of that low bubble, climbing hard and fast, floating on the 9-day, all the way up. When she fell, she bounced off of the 200 here, went right back to the 9. Every time she dips, it's really just to get closer to the 9. As long as the bottom of these price bars stays on top of the 9, this thing will just keep climbing and just keep climbing. When she comes underneath the 9, you can't climb unless you're on the 9. If the price gets too far above the 9, when you start seeing air, like here, when you start seeing air between the 9 and the bottom of these bars, expect a pullback. Expect it. When it comes down, it's probably going to bounce because it has a lot of strength, as long as it's not too high. You just want a little gap, a little. If it gets too high, take your gains, folks. If you see the price go super high over the 9-day and it is flying, this is not a bird. It does not fly. It's a kangaroo. It bounces. If you see a big run, a solid bar, and then a long wick go up, and you're way up above the 9, that wick is your sell point, folks, because it's going to take all the wick back. It's going to come to the solid bar, and then it's going to drop. So when you see a solid bar spit out a long wick above the 9, sell. That's a sell point there, folks. In my book, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not licensed. I don't give advice. I only share my perspective, and I'm wrong sometimes. I was trying to figure out how often I'm wrong. Probably more often than I like. But I like to find the things I'm right with and avoid the things I'm wrong with. There are certain things I just don't do well. So I focus in on those that I do. The 200 squeeze is one of the best things I do. And you know what? Nobody else talks about it, folks. I have not seen anything in all the time I've been doing this about anybody talking about the 200 squeeze. Not one person. I've got certain bars, my directional intentional spike, which is a big jump off of the 200 haul. It goes through the 200 and then back down, and then I wait for the breakout. When she gives me a breakthrough and then comes back down and the next bar does not go lower, I know she's going to break out. My other one is the pillar, a big bar that does not leave your MA, but it sends a big wick down through a whole bunch of MAs. Let me see if we got one here. Here, okay? This bar stayed above the 9, but it threw a wick through the 9-day, through the 200, through the 20, and almost to the 50. This tells me there is going to be a jump. That is a pillar, a foundation in the ground. When it goes through all of those MAs, it is setting up to go high, and it doesn't want to topple. So it's balancing itself. So I have these things that I've discovered, and nobody talks about them. So I don't share what other people share. I share what I do. So you're getting information nobody else can give you. And I hope it helps. That be it for today, folks. My voice is hung out as long as it can hold out. Hey, we've got some newcomers that just jumped in here. Hello, L. Yuns and Prime Time. Adrian. Hello, Mr. John. I like Mr. John. I used to be called Mr. Z. Now I could be Mr. Wizzy. I don't know. Thank you, folks. I appreciate you all being here today. I hope I've shared some information with you. Maybe not about the stocks. Maybe about the charting. I like to share information as we go along about anything that is sparking in my eyes. And I'm hoping that something I tell you helps you. And if it does, let me know, folks, because I got to tell you, YouTube doesn't pay me a whole lot for these videos. What I get is your praise. And since I'm doing it for free, your praise is what I am looking for. I hope you make some money with what I share with you. Thank you, folks. I'll see you next week, Thursday. Same time, same place, same beard, and I will be here. See you then. Home alone? You bet.